Hey, thanks for joining. Today is January 1st, 2020. Opening up here with One-Eyed Jack and the Shells, just a bowl cut away. Please share the stream and we'll get started here in about 33 seconds.
Just a bowl cut away. Another angry white kid. Just a bowl cut away. Greta's going to be pissed.
Okay, here we go. I see people rolling in. Jordan says, just breathe, Robbie Parker. Adoria the Explorer says, Happy New Year, fellow Penguins. Crazy Flat Lady 2020, another year in which to excel. Yep, this is really the fifth year since the world went flat. If you want to look at it that way, this is year 5. We're just reverse engineering what came before, but I'm not assuming we can trust what we've been told about the last or the previous 2 to 5,000 years. Certainly not at all. If we can't trust the news from the last 2 to 5 weeks, do you really think you can trust the same oligarchs and elitists who wrote your history books? No, absolutely not. What's up, Jay? Is it? This is where it's at TV. Lando Rock says, Happy New Year, Tim and everyone. Okay, so let's get started. Jay Is It says timeline hoax. Oh, exactly. Exactly. We don't know where we are, but we also don't know when we are. And we're digging for answers. I think archaeology is there to basically be a screen or a filter to prevent anyone from seeing anything that would constitute a continuity error. Okay, so let's continue. Let's just start with this. A lot of things are happening. This is 2020. This is the year that pretty much it's going to be proven as an observable fact based on Mad Mike Hughes' footage when he goes to space that the Earth is either vastly larger than we've been told or it's quite possibly not a ball. But whatever you think about it, it's really too late to debate it. It's too late to debate. It's too late to break out 200 proofs the Earth is flat as fuck. What you're going to have to do is just wait. I mean, I think 3 to 6 months, they should have the thing moving forward as far as the date set for the space jump. I mean, the capsule's built. The suit is there. I think they're just probably going to do it this summer, but it's going to be live and no one's going to have any deniability. And then we have individuals like this. This is the president of the Flat Earth Football Club, which is soccer for those of you Americans. And they named their club Flat Earth Football, instead of by their state or their geographical region. They decided to be the team for anyone who doesn't believe in a ball. Vice did a really nice piece on them. In fact, I think our mascot Penguin showed up in that piece, and they didn't put them down. And not all the team thinks the Earth is flat. This is just the president of the club. These headlines keep popping up, though. These headlines about this football team. So my point is, awareness is there. Nobody needs to go on street corners and say, hey, there's a lot of people who think the Earth is flat. It's like, no, everybody knows already. At this point, it's duh. And that initial phase where you go for attention, you aim to break the spell long enough to get someone to pay attention to you, that phase is over. You have their attention. And if you don't do anything with the attention, soon you're just going to be ignored. So now we have to do something with it. So at this point, debating doesn't matter. If you're still holding a Bible and looking at flat Earth maps in 2020, you're way behind the curve. Get rid of the Bible or put it in its proper context, unless you have a lot of them. Because maybe we could use that answer. How many Bibles would it take laid down end to end to reach from your doorstep to Antarctica? Like, that's the only thing you could possibly use the Bible for. Because this is about measurement. This is about geography, not orthodoxy, not faith, not religion. So anyone still pushing a Bible with the flat earth meme or concept or idea is misled. Or they're a misleader. It's one of the two. So let's continue. The Flat Earth has 21 licenses registered, having contributed 12 to justify the absence of an illness. The 7 remaining players registered must have appeared. Oh, I see what they did. Apparently, they weren't able to show up because they didn't have enough players and it created some drama. But my point is this: every time something happens with this team, the term flat earth gets out there. You're not going to get any higher levels of awareness. It's constantly in the news. So the time for proselytizing or pitching the idea or selling it or using persuasion to get people to listen to you, like that's over. It's not even shocking anymore. It's really not. So let's go into the main thing, the starting point for this year. So December 5th, 2019, SpaceX sent genetically enhanced, quote, mighty mice to the International Space Station. I think everyone here knows who Mighty Mouse is. Mighty Mouse is a mouse that can go to outer space. I think he came from another planet, but he travels throughout the cosmos. I think he saves the planet or something. He's one of those. I've never really watched it except when I was a kid. I think I saw some images of it, but basically he's a mouse in space, and you'd have to be a very powerful, mighty mouse to be able to survive that environment, right? So SpaceX on the 5th of December with the CRS-19, this was a reloading a supply rocket being sent up to the space station. They sent 5,700 pounds of supplies, but they also sent these genetically altered mice. Cargo mission combines Mighty Mice and More for NASA, SpaceX. Again, what is up with this thing, this mouse thing? This is futurism. SpaceX is sending super muscular mice to the space station. They want to figure out a way to modify astronauts genetically so space doesn't make them weaker. I mean, that's pretty much what they're saying. So, knowing all of this, knowing that they're sending these genetically modified mice into space, you can imagine our surprise and bewilderment when we saw this.
Means that we're within the expected and appropriate range.
Now, this is the clearest bit of footage that I could get. It's on my. If you go to infiniteplanesociety.com, if that's where you go to watch these live streams, right below the video, you'll see this. It's pinned at the top of my Twitter feed because I tweeted this at Elon Musk last night. In fact, I'll show you what I wrote to him in a minute. But that is 100% a mouse. That's not ice. Red's Rhetoric, that's not a smudge. And I know Mick West is probably going to call it ice, but we're not going to let any of them go. This is a big deal. This is a smoking gun. This is so good, I almost have to think that this is sabotage. Maybe like I said yesterday, a Chinese communist. Communists are trying to get to Mars first. They don't want the capitalists to get there, so what do? Discredit him. But I don't think that's the case now that I look back at it, because it went to the space station. So this kind of discredits everybody. So Elon Musk kind of messed up for everybody. Really, I've watched this thing for about 7 or 8 hours. I've watched this thing again and again and again. Linda Carter says someone found a mouse in their Applebee's meal. Must have fell from space. Yep, exactly. I mean, there might have been a few. My thinking is, here's what I actually think happened. Because I was looking at this engine. This is called the Merlin, as in magic tricks. Merlin 1D. What I think happened is this. If you ever go camping, you come back and you open the hood of your car and you have mice inside your engine, little nests and everything. That's what I think happened. I think that this is in a warehouse, and if you look closely at the mouse, it actually looks to be a wharf mouse, which has kind of a long snout. So what I've kind of concluded here is that what we're actually seeing is a wharf mouse that was in the warehouse that moved into Merlin 5. It moved into the engine. So it's here underneath this covering, probably with its family and friends. And then when they're staging the space launch, which is basically done in the garage, but they're actually blowing a fan, and that's how you see this thing move. I think they just woke up the mouse, and he's like, "What the hell's going on? Is there a storm out here? I thought I was indoors." So the mouse comes down to check it out, and he sees a bright light. He thinks it's the sun at first. He's like, "No, that's the camera crew. It's a stage light. No, there's Elon." So anyway, the Mighty Mouse was awakened by the sounds of a production company. That's what I think. I think they shook his house. Anyway, Musk is going to have to deal with this. I mean, what are we really looking at here? We're looking at a mouse on the outside of a rocket. Like, it can happen in the cartoons. And maybe this is why people won't notice. They were raised on Tom and Jerry. They were raised on these ridiculous tunes which really make a mockery of physics and science and observational reality. It's totally cartoony. It's like the world of the Mandela effect. There's no logic or reason. And so I was just like, how are people going to accept this? There's a mouse on the outside of a rocket. They'll say, yeah, it's normal. Or no, it was genetically modified. And genetic modification wouldn't explain the extreme temperatures. FFEX Fire Mart says flat Earth is fake. Okay, well, we'll grant you that, okay? Okay, flat Earth is fake. Now, let's talk about this mouse. That commenter, FFEX Fire Maztar06. Now that I have your attention, let us know, since you let us know that flat Earth is fake, and we appreciate that. We really do. Thousands of us appreciate it because now we can move on. But I want you to tell me, is this mouse fake? And let's see if this person answers. I'm not going to wait. Generally, these trolls are just, they throw a tomato and they walk away. But let's see if this guy sticks around and can tell us, what's with this mouse? I'm not saying the Earth is flat just because there's evidence here that Elon Musk is faking everything. He's faking the funk. Nothing real about this, but the mouse is real. Like, I think this is the Merlin 5 engine, and I think it's in this guy's warehouse. I think it's also worth noting that it's not sideways. That if you were to turn the camera 90 degrees to the left, it's just in the place where it is when they test it, and mice live inside of it. So my question is this a joke? Was this inserted to ridicule Elon Musk? Like I said, the commenter who said that the flat Earth is fake hasn't expressed his opinion about this mouse. That's very real. Last night I sent out a copy of the video, a 10-second clip, high definition, to as many people as I could. And I said, please download and re-upload it. He says, let me do some more research. Okay, FFEX, since you're a great and wonderful researcher, an amazing debater, and polemicist, when you're done researching, come explain to us what that mouse is, and we eagerly await your answer because you're the subject matter expert. There's a few topical things maybe we're talking about. It is 2020. It is an election year, so I don't want to let this go uncommented on. Of course, we know it's all fake, so we're just going to be calling out these crisis actors like Biden. 98% of mass shootings have occurred in gun-free zones. So who's the idiot who created gun-free zones? Well, Joe Biden created the Gun-Free Zone Act of 1990. Now this looks like a score, and I see right-wingers posting this, channels that are pro-liberty and everything. And I'm like, you guys are so deceived. Yeah, he created the gun-free zone, but 98% of mass shootings are fake. So you're falling for a dialectic. You're falling for a manufactured bad guy on a TV screen. Joe Biden's not your enemy. You are. Your blind faith belief in this world stage. A call all day 2323 says the speed of the rockets is 800 miles per hour with the mousey walking around. Yeah, but he's genetically modified. Here's another one. We have some drama going down with this embassy and an attack. I'm telling you it's fake. It's staged, and we had the footage of the Chinooks coming in. That's to cause right wingers to feel powerful, like our team is winning. Hey, look, we're not going to have a Benghazi. We're not going to ditch our guy like Hillary Clinton did in 2012. No, we're going to do it this way. We're going to show that Trump is going to rescue them. And also this ties into the good guy with the gun story in the church. That church shooting was fake. And a lot of right wingers are saying, hey, look, a good guy with a gun can stop a bad guy with a gun. That is a direct quote from the 2016 election when Trump was trying to say that what would have stopped the shooting at Orlando was a good guy, a good gay guy with a gun to shoot the bad gay guy with a gun. And that's all fake too. Fake, fake, fake. It's all to get you to vote. Now this, I like this one. This actually came from Float. Calling these two guys reverend is like calling Jeffrey Dahmer a chef. These are agitators, but the right wing loves to look at these guys and say, hey, look how bad they are. They're on the left. They're a bunch of commies. Sure. But your guys on the right are worse because they're in power right now. Now, this might be leading into something. I suspect this is, and I actually called this last year. I think that the Space 9/11 that's coming is going to be probably carried out by China. They're not going to nuke you, but I do, because nukes are fake, but I do think they could probably pull something off with drone swarms. And we keep seeing these drone swarms being reported, unidentified objects being reported. If you didn't know, there was a lull in UFO sightings for about 10 years, ever since like smartphones became popular. Everyone has a camera, suddenly there's no UFOs. But now this year, they're being spotted all over, and that's because we're being led, we're being walked forward in the script towards the space war scenario. And I think part of the space war scenario might involve Chinese drones. No joke. FFX says that the mouse is fake. Oh no, he says nukes are fake, and he's shocked by that. No, no. Before we go into nukes, let us know about the mouse. It was on CRS-19. I mean, this is very common. It's very common that the people telling us that we're wrong are coming from a place of complete ignorance. And no offense. I mean, you're not meant to see this stuff. You're not meant to know this. But if you look at the CRS-19 rocket launch from December 5th, where they were sending genetically modified mice into space, yeah, there are mice on the outside of the rocket. The thing's in a warehouse. It's a sick joke. I think it's a joke. I really do. There's more to it that makes me think that there's a high level of high incident of scripting here, like a subtext. Like, you know how they tell stories? Like if you ever look closely at the Apollo landing, and Bill Cooper did a great piece on this, you'll see that there's quite a bit of Masonic symbolism in the way that they scripted the initial launch. The first step of Neil Armstrong on the surface of the moon was a ritual, much like the Masons' first step upon initiation. I mean, it's just replete with symbolism. So it doesn't surprise me that we're still seeing a subtext with all these stories. So it's not a coincidence that they're sending mice into space, quote, mighty mouse into space. Mighty Mouse is the mouse that can survive outer space. And they actually have a damn mouse on the outside of the rocket. This is massively discrediting, not just for SpaceX, but for the space station, which I think it needs to go down soon. They've got 26 days. NASA, if you're listening, if you want to meet your 33-day window, 33-year window, it's been since, 1986, when the Challenger went down, late January. It was on the anniversary of the 3 guys burning to death on the launch pad 19 years before. 19 years before the Challenger, you had 3 guys burn on a launch pad. And then, of course, that was on the anniversary of Sir Francis Drake perishing while exploring the frontiers. And they keep telling the same story. The Challenger guys blew up while exploring the frontiers, the final frontier of space. So, to be consistent, they pretty much have to pull the ISS down within the next 3 weeks. Of course, it's fake. For those of you who don't know, the space station's fake. When it comes down, nobody's going to cry or die or get hurt. It's all a psy-war. My only question is, will Russia shoot it down? Maybe India. I mean, India already blew up a satellite in its path, which is a huge provocation. But knowing it's fake, I can talk about this because I know their script and we're following it. So, What I'm suggesting here is that to make this pattern complete, they're probably going to do it on the anniversary or close to the anniversary of all these events. And it is the 33-year window. And those of you who follow this channel this year know how much they've used this time period and that number in the scripting this year. And it all has to do with things burning. And we've talked about this at length, but this is going to be the subject here. Again, we're going to go through all this predictive scripting when they pull the space station and kick off the space wars. And we'll be live streaming it if they don't shut off the internet, because part of space war is cyber war. FFEX says, where did you get the video of the mice? Well, I'm happy that you conceded that you're looking at a mouse. You know, a lot of people have such strong cognitive dissonance that their eyes will not process the information that their masters have forbidden them from seeing. You know, this is something you're not supposed to see. And the fact that you know it's a mouse by looking at it means that you're not totally Tide Podded. You still have some gray matter. Hasn't been totally scrubbed by the government brainwashing detergent yet. So where did we find this? We found this on SpaceX's site. This was from their live footage. Go to infiniteplainsociety.com and you can get all the links, you can get the close-ups. Scroll down below the video, the live stream video, if you go to infiniteplainsociety.com right now, and I'm leaving this video up eternally. I tweeted Musk, and I also tweeted the Flat Earth Society in the same tweet. Let me show you what I sent them, because that's where you can go. I'll just demonstrate it, because this is not going to go away. I'm going to talk about this every damn day. Bob the Science Guy says a mouse. Seriously. Now, Bob, I know that you're probably a paid shill, and that you're here to maintain the deception and prevent any of the free thinkers or perceivers from noticing reality. So why don't you call in right now and explain to us, Bob the Science Guy, what you think that is? Because your eyeballs will process a mouse, your brain will process a mouse, but who knows what's going to come out of your lying mouth. 505-510-4226. Call in if you're a believer in the outer space program and explain to us how on this launch where they sent genetically modified mice into space, there were mice on the outside of the rocket. Please feel free to explain it to us. Tim Osman with an S says Bob the Science Guy is the guy who gives pharmaceuticals to women for sexual favors, and he went to court for multiple women. Oh yeah, I watched that. Bob the Science Guy is a sexual predator. And a lot of sexual predators, for some reason, get drafted by the government to do damage control on the internet. Bob the Science Guy says, you seriously think a mouse can exist on an exhaust port? Now, that's a logical fallacy, Bob, the quote science guy. That's called an argument from incredulity. Okay? Like, you seriously think a mouse can't? That's not an argument, Bob. So, why don't you call in 505-510-4226 and explain to us how it's not a mouse. We're not going to talk about you molesting women for drugs. We're just going to talk about the mouse, Bob the Science Guy. Skyrocket says, yes, if it's fake, a mouse can exist anywhere. Well, sure, but you're using logic. Like, clearly this is fake. Yeah, we call him, look, 8 call all day 2323 says, hey Bob, do you see a mouse? He says, after your comment, no thanks, I don't chat with punks. That's cool. I don't chat with sexual abusers or sickos or people abusing their power or access to drugs to take advantage of people. So you're pretty much scum, Bob the Science Guy. If you don't mind, delete all your comments. Self-delete. We're not really here even debating it. That's a freaking mouse. You know, this is your system. You got to defend it. He's probably not going to call it. You know, he's a rat. He's not going to give away one of his own. He's part of the deception. Imagine that. Imagine lying for a billionaire. You're not a billionaire, and you're going to lie for a billionaire. Yeah, this is going to bring down a lot of. I think this is going to create some problems here. This is going to bring down a number of channels because they won't be able to debate against it. Do you think Fight the Flat Earth can say anything about this? Do you think that McToon or what's Simon Dan, Red's Rhetoric, you think any of these bozos are going to be able to address this? And just send them. I'll show you. Send them to, and look, Mighty Mouse. It's a damn cartoon. InfinitePlaneSociety.com. Jordan says, I will always remember Musk saying, if you can't beat them, join them. InfinitePlaneRadio.live. Okay, so here's what happens. You go to the site, very first link is my Twitter. It goes to my Twitter feed. And here's where I tweeted Elon Musk directly. In fact, let's go over there. It's twitter.com/infiniteplaner. Brand new account. The pal says Cyman is a clown. Skyrocket says if you can't see that's a mouse, then you might as well get on the Mandoozled bandwagon. You could say it's a Mandela effect, I suppose. Okay, so here's what I said. And this is to Elon Musk. I messaged him last night. Pope Elon, why is there a rat on the Merlin 1D engine on CRS-19? You are about to take a fall, along with the entire Tower of Babylon, with your satanic space heaven. Earth is flat and infinite until proven otherwise. Happy New Year's, the IPS, hashtag Year of the Rat. Yes, it's Year of the Rat. A Flatlander says, wrench me. I have a NASA balloon video to share. Sure. And you know what? The best way to share content with us is to join us. Go to the website and subscribe to Patreon. $1 a month. You get access to the Discord server, our think tank, and everything else. You will get live stream notifications. Yeah, Year of the Rat begins February the 5th. Unbelievable. But look, we're not going to let it go. They got away with space bubbles. I thought space bubbles was a thing. That's why I took it to the city council. That's why we made a big deal about it. I was like, there's no way they can explain away the space bubbles, but I've seen them do it. Then I came back with this shadow, the smudge. There was a smudge, or rather a shadow, underneath the space station on the CGI ball. And Red's rhetoric said it's a smudge. Okay, it's a moving smudge. So I realized, okay, they will use any kind of excuse they can. So I don't want to give them any plausible deniability. Crazy Flat Lady says Disney's Mickey Mouse started out as a rat. Yeah, it's still Year of the Golden Hoggy in the Chinese calendar. And we've awarded a number of those. If you guys didn't know, the Golden Hoggy Award is basically an award we give to the best crisis actors. And this year we gave a Golden Hoggy to Greta because of her crisis acting on behalf of the environment, which was great. I mean, she really looked angry. One of my favorite actresses of 2019. But, you know, this award that we give out, this Golden Hoggy, it was given to her because we figured she deserved some recognition. And the next day they said, yeah, she's being nominated, of all things, for a Nobel Peace Prize. So on the article where, I'll show it to you because this can't be a coincidence. So she's nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, and she didn't get it, which made some people mad. But when she was taking the PR shots, the photographs at her house, where they were saying, hey, look, she's going to win this award, they had her photographed next to a giant hog. And this was the day after we awarded her the Golden Hoggy. Could be a coincidence if you believe in those. Yeah, hey, this mouse thing, very interesting. Crazy Flat Lady says Merlin Mouse Fantasia. Right. Merlin Mouse Fantasia. It's the Merlin 5 engine. And if you didn't know, NASA and Disney are pretty much the same thing. And you can find images of Walt Disney hanging out with Nazis, and this was at the beginning of the space program, trying to figure out how they were going to bamboozle all of you. And they did it. They did it. Here's another headline: The Weird World of Flat Earth Football Club. Again, they just named themselves after the flat earth, and they're constantly getting headlines. And I listen to them talk, and describe what they think about the shape of the world and everything. And from what I can tell, they are not Bible thumpers. They do not talk about a dome. One of them suggested there could be more land, but they bring out these banners whenever they go out, meet the public. Not the usual flat earth nonsense you hear. These aren't bad arguments. They're not pushing the Bible. Okay, so if you just got here, we're talking about Mighty Mouse in space. There was a mouse on the outside of a SpaceX rocket on December the 5th, and it happened to be the launch where they were sending mice into space. And the other side are totally triggered. We even had Bob the science guy come in here. He's never commented here before. They're out here doing damage control and they can't figure it out. They figured out how to do the bubbles in space. They say, oh, it's space dust or it's ice. They figured that one out. They called the shadow of the ISS, which should not be there, which is evidence of CGI. They said, no, that's actually a smudge. So they got away with that. But they're not going to get away with this Wharf mouse on the Merlin engine. And I don't think it was an accident necessarily. It could be sabotage, it could be an inside joke, but it's there. It's there. And so this is a great place to start off for 2020. I guess this is the third year of the Flat Earth Report podcast. This is the third year. This is the longest running podcast on the topic and the most authoritative one. There is another one, or a few, but I would have to say that we are in the know about most things. We've attended conferences. We were the ones who actually instigated this topic to leave YouTube by putting out billboards. And this is the third year, and this is going to be, I think, probably the most effective one yet. This is the year that Mad Mike Hughes, who we sponsored on his Daredevil stunts, is going to be doing a stunt that'll take him 3 times higher than the Red Bull jump. 3 times higher than the Red Bull jump. And we're going to be there, front row seats. If you want to be a part of it, if you want to support it, if you want to be active, go to the link below. Oh, look at this. FFEX Firemats says, I mean, I respect your opinion, but I'm a big fan of NASA. I even have a NASA sweater. Okay, well, your NASA sweater, you're a big fan of NASA. That just shows that, you never had any reason to doubt these people, but you might feel a little better knowing that this is actually SpaceX. This is Elon Musk. So what do you call it? Now that you've had time to look at it, and we contacted you earlier during the stream, FFEX FireMatsR06, now that you've had time to look at the mouse, will you tell everyone here what you think it is? Will that cop in your head tell you it's ice? Will the cop in your head tell you it's just a smudge? Or can you be honest with yourself and with us? Skyrocket says NASA is the biggest magic show. Oh yeah, it's all sleight of mind. Now we're just waiting to see if the commenter FFEX has the guts or the intellectual honesty, if he has the truthiness in him to call this thing a damn mouse. Let's see what he says. I'm very curious. I find the subject of cognitive dissonance intriguing. It's very relevant, and I find that a lot of people can't overcome it. And I know why. There's a dynamic in play here. You're trying to decide, because it's a double bind, you're trying to decide, am I going to be correct to my own perceptions, or am I going to be correct according to the consensus? So are you an individual or are you a collectivist? A collectivist will always say that's just a smudge. Oh, that's just ice. They'll default to the dominant paradigm at all times because they're weak and they can't stand on their own 2 feet. If you're an individual, you'll say that's a freaking mouse. FFEX, let's see if he's a NASA cuck. Nope, he says it does look like a mouse. Okay, it does look like a mouse. And that's about all you can say, honestly. You can say it's a mouse, but do we know that? No, this could be a CGI mouse. It has the features of a wharf rat, though. I appreciate your honesty. It's rare. Most of them turn and run when confronted with facts. I appreciate your honesty. And we don't have to make leaps beyond that. I know you're a NASA fanboy and you're totally deceived and your brain is basically mush, but that's cool. You can repair it later. So it's a new year. This is a great one. So your goals for the year. This is you at the bottom left, and you've all been here. You're all here right now. You have your list of goals, your dreams, and here's what you're up against for the next 12 months: pessimists, rejection, ego, friends, haters, fear, guilt, society, doubt, a boss. And one of the things I want to do this year is I want to start getting rid of the naysayers in the chat like we used to. We want to get rid of the negativity, the trolls, the toxic people, and the pessimists. And we've done a good job with it. That's how we've managed to consolidate the think tank that we have. We have standards, but we're also going to bring back a couple of other things when it comes to the Discord server. If you're in the Discord server, you already know how many kids died and how many people cried. You already know about the fake science that's being used to give a fake worldview. I just don't think ignorance is the defense at this time. FFX says, I do trust the government. Why would they lie about the earth being round? Right, governments don't lie. That's naive. Every right-thinking, rational person knows that governments don't lie. Cops don't lie. Priests never lie. They're so close to God, they would never lie. You should just, instead of going to daycare, just have your kids babysat with the priests in your neighborhood because priests are great people, right? I love these people who are like, oh, government wouldn't lie. Why would they lie? Said every abuse victim ever. Why would they lie? It's like it was in your face the whole time. You're gaslit. You've been gaslit. Your perceptions have been tampered with. I drew this last night. This is a CGI conception of a mouse in space. So for those of you true believers, including you, FFEX, this is not a video. This is not a photograph. This is CGI. FFX says, I'm respecting your opinions, but your fans are making fun of me. I don't have any fans. This isn't a fanboy club like your NASA thing. I'm a fan of NASA. No, we're just focused on facts, man. And the facts here are saying that you are someone who takes what you see on TV as evidence, and that is CSA. You've been rendered visually illiterate. We're supposed to be having a new reformation here, where those of us who can see are able to interpret things without the mediation of the deceivers. It's not about literacy as in the movable type press as with the previous one. This one is about, can we restore some balance of power here by actually observing and seeing what our perceptions are revealing to us instead of going along with what we're told? Can you replace dogma and faith with reason and logic? Skyrocket says FFEX has the Stockholm Syndrome with the government. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. That's what I would call Stockholm Syndrome, and they're giving it to the kids these days with the school shooting drills. They create this trauma bond where they fall in love with their captors, Big Brother with the gun and the badge. FFEX says, I'm not right-wing or full-blown Christian. Okay, so you might be a liberal, which makes sense. I think that the liberals tend to believe big government more because they trust it, and then they think all corporations lie. Like, that's kind of funny, right? If you're on the right, you would say, yeah, of course governments lie. But you're on the side of corporations, more or less. If you're on the left, you say, oh, corporations lie all the time. But the government's an angel. Also, on the right wing, they don't believe in climate change, but they believe in chemtrails. On the left wing, they don't believe in chemtrails, but they do believe in climate change. We figured out how compartmentalized this thing is. It's a damn chessboard. And if you're on the world stage, you're a piece. You're a pawn at best. And that's at best. So we've been looking at how they, well, it's the perpetual war, how they game this whole system, this whole society. And we're actually spot on with our assessments here. Last week, a week and a half ago, there was the attack in New York, the stabbing. And at first, the news was like, well, what is it? Is it some white guy killing Jews because of the neighborhood? And it took us about an hour parsing the stories, the headlines, and who was promoting it to realize, okay, this is not being advanced by the political left. It is being advanced by the right. There's no ISIS connection here. It's a man and a woman attacking. And we started just breaking it down, and we realized, okay, this is going to be black Hebrew Israelites motivated by internet conspiracy theories about the Jews. And bam, 6 hours later, Drudge Report, black Hebrew Israelites were behind this latest attack. Well, how do we know it? process elimination. When there's a shooting or a mass shooting at a mall, the question is white kid with a bowl cut, mentally ill, obviously, terrorist, Allah Akbar. It's one of the two. And the left wing is hoping for a white kid, and the right wing is hoping for a Muslim. And they're hoping so that they can advance their political agenda. They don't give a damn about the dead. Not that there are any. All right, let's continue. Hori Sheet's back looking for a soulmate. Just thought I'd bring it up really quick. Glad to see he survived. I briefly touched on this yesterday. Turned out to be a whole lot of nothing. There was this video, these horrible accusations made about him, and none of them are true. He assures us. Next, let's continue with this mouse thing for just a few more moments here. This is a big deal. Again, we're not going to let this go. There is a mouse on the outside of the SpaceX rocket. During the launch, it is impossible. It's impossible. This can't be. This cannot be. And so I don't know how many of these agents out there are panicking over this, but I have the clearest footage I could get. I've blown it up. I put it on repeat ad nauseum. SpaceX Mighty Mouse survives outer space without a spacesuit. Like, that is a factual statement. In the world that we live in, this is a factual statement. SpaceX genetically modified Mighty Mouse survives outer space without a spacesuit. How does that happen? If you still believe in NASA's lies after this, you are brainwashed. And you're not coming from a place of science, you're not coming from a place of knowledge. So the fact that genetically modified mice were sent to space shows scripting. I think this was intentional, because that's a coincidence. Consider this. There's a mouse on the outside of it, and they happen to be sending mice to space. Like, that's more than a coincidence. That is scripting. Jordan says, do you think it was a warehouse mouse or somehow they're trolling? Well, one person suggested it was a wharf mouse if they're near the sea. Kind of makes sense. FFEX says, do you believe in nukes? Do you believe everything you see on TV? No, I don't believe in nukes. And I'm saying this as a person, like, this is not an argument from ignorance. I'm saying this as a former NBC NCO. I was in the military, and a big part of my job was, of course, learning about nukes for decontamination, setting up the quarantine zones, how to handle fallout, radioactive waste disposal, detection. So I know pretty much everything there is to know about this topic. I watched all the videos, all of them. I mean, I went through a 6-month, I think it was in one base, it was 6 months, just one topic, NBC, nuclear, biological, chemical. But the nuclear thing was all about learning about these nukes, looking at the videos, looking at, look, if it goes at this high, this is how far the EMP will hit. At no point did I question the reality of any of it. At all. This guy says, what about Hiroshima? Well, what do you think? I mean, honestly, what do you think? What about the mouse? Like, I mean, this is the thing, and you don't know this yet, you may not know this yet, but the role of the church, which has always ruled over people with superstition, religions rule over people with superstitions, judgy gods, devils, demons, monsters, witches, etc. All fake. You can admit that. Is it really a stretch for me to say that your mainstream media has replaced the role of the church? They've turned you into a blind faith believer. He says Hiroshima was real. It was real on TV. That's all. Thousands of people died, so you think. You know, did dinosaurs really die 65 million years ago? Was that real? I mean, these are all questions that you don't hear often because you've been told that these are facts. Just like you've been told that you cannot survive in space. That's a fact. But here's something contradicting that fact. Here's your belief system. You believe that this is a magic rocket going to heaven. I'm sorry, space. And yeah, because they're building your heavenly paradise up there, where you're going to go and maybe send your kids. And here you can actually see evidence that the whole thing is done on Earth. So this should also destroy your faith that that nuke was what they say it was. Now, here's the thing, this is not reality denial. I'm not saying that nobody died over there. I'm just saying that the cause isn't what they said. Could have been fire bombs. Doesn't have to be a magical nuke with splitting of atoms and all that. Let's continue. I don't want to get too focused on someone else who's like 5 years behind. What I want to focus on is this. We're looking at these mice as being intentionally inserted, so it could be a gaslighting Psywar tactic. I mean, consider where someone like our commenter here, FFEX, is. He's a true believer, right? He sees it on TV, it's true. He doesn't possess the critical thinking that you guys have because you've been at this for a bit. And no offense, man. No offense. You've been taught not to analyze the news. So you think it's real. And so you see this and you believe it's real, and you're basically like, yes, that mouse is mousy, but there has to be an explanation, but there's no way the government lied. So here you are having to accept a contradiction, and you're just going to ignore it, and it's going to disappear. And you're still going to believe that rockets go to space. And when you've accepted that, that's called gaslighting. It means that now you distrust your own perceptions. Now your perceptions take a backseat to the perceptions of your rulers. And that's kind of where you're at. So if you walk away from this live stream still believing that rockets go to space, then you've been dominated. Your individuality has been replaced by the collective. FFX says, give me 2 reasons to believe flat Earth. No, I won't give you any because there aren't any. I'm not trying to convince you. And believe it, I don't know, no one's been to the edge. But I would say give me 2 reasons to think rockets go to space after having seen this. You know that rocket was going to the space station. If this was fake and it docked, was the docking real? This is a house of cards if you haven't noticed. So I think this might be a gaslighting tactic. It did appear on the live feed. It was live, as in this was broadcast live. So nobody took the footage, added the mouse, and then put it on YouTube. No, this was live. This was on TV. That mouse was on TV. FFX says, I've seen a rocket go to space. No, you haven't. You were on the ground. You didn't see it go to space. How far do you think you can see with your human eyes? You can't see that far. You don't have the eyes to see something go into, quote, space. You know where space is, right? You're talking the Kármán line, 62 miles up. And before it goes that high, it's way out of your line of sight because of the gravity tilt, the gravity lean. It's going away from you. So, no, you've never seen a rocket go to space. Are you telling me that this one is in space? Really ask yourself this. I mean, no one knows you, right? You're just this anonymous NASA victim hanging out with about 75 domestic terrorists who know that this is all fake. So you're the only one here, who still thinks that this is in outer space. So my question to you is, if you recognize this as a mouse and therefore it logically follows this is fake, then what about the docking at the ISS? And this was the 19th CRS refueling mission. 19 out of 20. So were the previous 18 real? Don't think so. So the burden of proof has been met. That is a mouse. The only question is accidental or not. It's also Year of the Rat coming up next month, starting next month. Now Smudgegate, if you remember, Smudgegate was when we saw a shadow beneath the ISS on the video, which you should not see. There should not be a shadow on the ISS or below the ISS on the Earth. There are no shadows that can reach 272 miles through the atmosphere. So I brought this up to Reds Rhetoric, a NASA shill and government liar, who said it's a smudge. Now I didn't argue with it. I'm like, fine, that's your answer. It's your answer. I'm like, we know the truth. We know what it means. Do you know what it means? Do you know what it means when there's a layer with a shadow corresponding to an object in a 3D environment? And it just means that it's in a 3D environment. Like it's a CGI rendering. It's not a videotape of a ball Earth. Portal Complex says 2020 Mars launch has been officially debunked. Well, you know what? Another thing that's interesting about this is this affects the ISS and all the other companies. JAXA, the Chinese Space Station, ESA. They all have to deal with this. Like Elon Musk can't take a fall, and the rest of them stay up. And also, we had the guy in here who was scared about nukes. North Korea's missiles are obviously fake. If you look at the launches, it's faker than NASA launches, one. And two, North Korea's missiles are often bendy, and their rockets are observed by media all the time to be clearly just dummies. FFEX says, let's talk on Discord. It will be live. Actually, why don't you just call in 505-510-4226. The thing is, you're not going to be able to change the subject. Like if you're going to call in, you're going to talk about that mouse and how it's a mouse and how the burden of proof has been met. We're not going to let you say, give me 50 proofs that the earth is a ball or not a ball. Like we're not here to debate. I don't debate believers. It's not how you get anywhere. Debating requires the formal rules of logic. And when you're debating people who have a religious perspective, there's no logic there. And I'm saying that you have a religion. It may not have a Bible, but it has a TV. Same thing. Same orthodoxies. Same liars who wrote the Bible wrote the mainstream media and write all these other lies. Lies without end. This is from Times of Israel. Not much to say here, only this. Here's a lie right here he doesn't know about. So here's a liar. I'm sorry, a guy writing about lies, and he advances a lie. You were told a lie when you were a kid. You were told, quote, and this is what he's saying, and he thinks this is real, but you were told that Columbus tricked the Spanish benefactors into financing him, even though they believed he was going to go over the edge. So the idea here was small-minded flat earthers didn't want him to find the new world, so they said, no, you can't go, you'll fall off the edge. We were all taught this crap. Turns out that's not true. They don't even teach that. They don't teach it anymore in school. If you're in school, they don't say to the kids, yeah, they thought the earth was flat, and then Columbus proved him wrong. But people still advance that lie. And that just shows you how what was taught as factual 30 or 40 years ago is now admitted to be incorrect. So you were taught lies. You have to at least recognize that. A few other things that we want to get into this year. We're going to be following a number of crisis actors as we have. And if you remember
without wasting any time.
Now this is from Fearless TV. Last Easter, there was a high-profile assassination of a popular rapper, or soon-to-be popular rapper. I think he became more popular after his death. I mean, if you didn't know, Nipsey Hussle's been pulling in $1 million a month. But we analyzed that death scene, and it was totally fake. The way that they did the CPR kind of gave it away. You had moving one-handed chest compressions on a gurney where the victim supposedly had 7 or 8 holes in his torso. Like it wouldn't happen like that. Anyway, we were looking at the cast of characters. Cam B pointed this out at the time, and here's Fearless TV making it even clearer. The whole thing was staged. Fake as that, fake as anything else you see on the news. The celebrity drama, the celebrity deaths are just as fake as the terror attacks and the school shootings. If it's a world stage event, if it's a mass media event, it's probably fake. So this is China Hustle. This is the wife of Nipsey Hussle. Or not wife, but the baby's mother. And then his new girl, Laura London, side by side, and Fearless TV does some great comparisons here. It's the same person. She hides her dimples with piercings, but I'm going to play this video really quick.
Let's go ahead and overlay the face to see what changes. The same eyebrows, same nose. The only thing that's throwing you off is the makeup, but that's done on purpose, but it's her. Nothing is different. I'm not seeing no changes at all. Of course. China Hustle on the left, Lauren London on the right. Same nose, Same bone structure. Everything matches up. China Hustle. Same dimples in the face. Same similar body build. What a coincidence, people. And I'm actually surprised that nobody noticed this one. This one is so obvious. They got sloppy with this one. They threw it right in your face. And you know, that should tell you a lot about Hollywood. Hollywood is fake. You might as well take the whole TV and smash it. It's garbage. Everything is garbage with this Nipsey Hussle death hoax. They used a dummy at the scene, no blood, of course. And look at the eyes. The same exact eyes, the same nose. Yeah, not a coincidence, people. And then I forget to mention the same exact ears. That's the dead giveaway, the same ears. They didn't even bother changing the ears. They could have at least added some latex to make it look different, but the ears match up. China Hustle on the left, Lauren London on the right. Not a coincidence. Lauren London, China Hustle, same exact ears.
Same bitch. Same bitch, as they say. And yes, Nipsey Hussle faked his death. They faked the funeral. The whole thing was rigged. We watched the whole thing unfolding. Is she wearing a 33 on her shirt? Yes, she is. Anyway, thanks Fearless TV. I dropped a link in there. Those of you who are producing content exposing the fakery, keep sharing it with me because I'm going to send it to the people who follow this channel because we're pulling our info together. We're deconstructing the world stage together, and it takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of work. Another deep faker, for those of you who don't know about this one, this is how they operate. The CIA,
Hey everybody, this is Tree.
the intelligence services, they all do the same thing. They embed agents to rule you. The ruling class, the oligarchs, they plant agents at all levels of society, and they wear disguises and costumes to blend in. Here's an example. This is Sean King, aka Telcom X, who lied about his race and passed himself off as black, gave himself a backstory or a black story, and fooled a number of people while agitating for Black Lives Matter before it came out. And he's still out there playing this thing, but he's been exposed. He's a ginger, redhead, but he's dying. He's doing his hairline in a certain way. I mean, this guy is a phony. Oh, he's joining the young. I didn't know he joined the Young Turks. But he's not the only one. Rachel Dolezal. Then you have Elizabeth Warren, claimed to be Native American to get cheaper tuition at college. This is a game that's played all over the place. Norbu says, anybody seen the movie Soul Man where a white guy goes blackface to get some scholarship money? Right, or the movie White Chicks. And the thing is, the technology that they have for disguise are far beyond what you see in these Hollywood films. They give you a dumbed down version of it. It's so good that the masks are foolproof. This is another topic we've studied. In fact, we brought a lot of attention to Jonah Mendez, CIA Master of Disguise, Chief of Disguise, for 27 years. And she retired. And after she retired, she pretty much said, yeah, look, this stuff was classified until just now. But the public has no idea what kind of technologies the intelligence agencies have as far as disguise. And so one of my books this year that I put out was Deep Faked. Because we're using that term slightly differently than it's used by the news today. Deep fake is generally meant as it's a digital editing technique intended to make it look like somebody who wasn't there was there, somebody who didn't say something actually said something. And so this concept of deep fakery, that reality can be completely compromised with disguises, with visual deception, not a new concept. Hey, phones are open, by the way, if you want to call in, if you're a believer in the space program. 505-510-4226. Phones are open. So let's continue. Deep faking, as I define it, faking reality in order to replace, subvert, augment, or otherwise influence the perceptions of others. We are witnessing one of the greatest misdirection campaigns of our lives. The news stories about so-called deepfakes, computer-generated characters, subverting our reality. Infinite Plane Radio.
Hey, IPS, what's going on? It's Cam B.
Hey, Happy New Year, Cam B. What's going on? Did you see the China Hustle? Uh, Let me find it here. I think it was China Hustle's video that Fearless TV put up showing how she looks exactly like Laura London.
Well, yeah, I've been saying that, and I need Fearless TV to stop running around and taking all the credit for my work. No, I'm just kidding. But but no. I've been saying that, man.
No, I know you called that out
So
the very first week, and
yeah,
I remember that
yeah.
call, and so I like it that people are going back and finding these pictures, and Fearless TV is great for that because that takes a lot of work, to actually.
No, he's amazing, man, and I appreciate everything he does. And I'm just trying to get more and more people to do videos, like I've been saying, but it's so obvious that that is the same chick that it blows and I don't know why. Well, you know what? I do know why. But there's that story that doesn't get any traction. Like I try to push that. I try to get that in the comments. I try to, say, hey, wake up, Lauren London is trying to hustle. That gets zero traction anytime I try to push it. And it's because that is like the biggest giveaway to the entire story. It blows the whole thing up.
It really does. It really does. It blows the whole thing up because we're talking about a case where we can easily demonstrate that Nipsey Hussle's death was fake. And so then you're like, wait, if his death was fake, wouldn't his wife know? Would they be a part of it? So obviously they're part of it, and then you see this resemblance, and you're like, okay, now you can see this is a movie set.
Yeah, it's clearly. And then also you see it, if you look at it this way too, well, more evidence, right? I'll rehash this. So for Nipsey Hussle's fake staged, Staples Center funeral that was on TV, if this was real life, don't you think his baby's mother would be there that day? Like for whatever reason, this is a real funeral. A real baby mother, no matter the relationship she has with the father's child, she's going to be there at a funeral, for God's sake, okay? But you know what? Lauren London was there, but China Hustle was not there that day. That should tell you everything.
Wow, that's actually a really good point. What a conspicuous absence. You know, I mean,
Come on. I mean, do we have to just keep going? It's so obvious. It's like, and then they want to be like, oh yeah, she didn't want to deal with the drama. And it's like they're going to make all these excuses as to why she wasn't there. But if this were real life, then she would be there.
oh,
Period.
yeah,
So she wasn't there because she was playing the role of Lauren London that day.
yeah, you would have seen them hugging. It would have been on TMZ. No, that was all staged and fake. Actually, I have on the screen now a book I put out called Guardrails, and there's a chapter in here called "Nipsey's Not Dead: The Jesus Christ Shuffle," and it basically exposes how he faked his death and how they got off the stage, and a lot of stuff in here goes into how these things are theatrically staged on a calendar, and the news media is complicit in it. It's just part of the big Psywar.
Yeah, I mean, um, I want to say I think I'll say this to a lot of people. We've been doing these videos for a little while now, and I've never seen the amount of backlash and hate and lies that are being spread about me and others who are spreading truth. It's absolutely insane. But I know why this happens, because this is the part that discourages other people from coming out and spreading the truth, because they see what happens to us who do it, and we get ridiculed, we get complete lies made up about us. It's very interesting, man, and it's like at an all-time high. I've kind of just taken a step back just a little bit to get some stuff in order in my life, but I'm not giving up, and I'm going to do a lot more things in this new year, man. There's going to be a lot more to come. So I just want to let you guys know that too, and I appreciate all the love from everybody. And there was one other thing I was going to mention to you, but it'll come to me. But what do you think so far in the new year, and what's to come, man?
Well, so far, I mean, this has been huge. I think that last year, one of the biggest things that we've done as a think tank is to see through the deep fake in the news, the deep fake hype, and recognize that they're actually hiding these masks. And these masks are a fact of life. And a lot of people, like, they find stuff shocking, like when you say that Beaver is playing the weekend, but that's because they don't know what technologies are there or why they do these things. And what I like to do is show them the technologies so you can open up the window of discourse. So now it's in the realm of possibility that you've got celebrities blackface in it and worse.
It's so much worse than that. I mean, and then you have what, Joe Rogan Asian facing it as freaking Andrew Yang. I mean, it's where does it stop? And
Okay,
you
wait,
know, and a lot of
that
people,
one, for people who don't know, the suggestion here is that, yeah, that you've got Andrew Yang running for president, who, I mean, he basically has Joe Rogan's point of view, universal income, free
yeah,
drugs, the whole thing. But even his sense of humor with the whipped cream made me think of Joe Rogan and his stand-up comedy, even his physical movements. But I looked at the two of them they had an interview, where Joe Rogan's interviewing Wayne,
yes,
but
yes, I've seen it.
the camera is on, it's fixed. So there's no shots of them moving together in the same scene. You do have pictures of them together afterwards, but pictures don't mean much, as you know. So my question
Yeah,
would be though,
no,
the main thing that I saw that threw me off was Joe Rogan's colossal cranium. But that could all be camera angle too.
yeah, it could be camera angles. I don't know exactly, what kind of Hollywood tricks they're up to. I don't know how they do it. They do it.
I would say
I
though,
don't know how.
Wang looks like a bobblehead. Do you agree?
I absolutely agree with that. He looks like a bobblehead figure, and he did an interview, or he did like a, I don't know what to call it. They were just outside. He was talking. I saw it. He was talking to some lady, and the lady had to be super short, but Joe Rogan's short, and it looked. I'll try to send you the link to this. I'll find it. Throughout this, had to be about 30 or 40 minutes long, and it looked like Andrew Yang was just standing on like a like a stool to make himself look taller than the reporter or whatever. Like this is what they do. You see what I'm saying? So it's like throughout the whole entire thing, I watched every single part of it. They never showed his feet. You couldn't see anything past his knees in the entire thing, and it's like what, It's like this is madness, man. They're going through so many lengths to do this, and it's like, how, I don't know, like how long have they been doing this is the question. And then you look at the dead giveaway on Andrew Yang, guys. If you guys want to look at it, it's just the voice. The voice is so obviously Joe Rogan. It's insane.
Wait. Okay, so Norbu, who says Yang has a melty face and it's smaller than Joe Rogan's head. It looks like it on some angles, but when I'm looking at here, he's got a big old bobblehead. I could see Rogan's skull crammed into that thing. And also, someone says here, why do you call him Wang? Is that racist? It's not racist to call Yang Wang. And it's really stupid for these PC types to, call out racist. It's like, give me a break. No, I call him Wang because he's running around in his campaign headquarters with a can of whipped cream at waist level, spraying it into the mouths of his supporters in a pantomime of, making the whipped cream bottle a Wang. I mean, it's a simple joke, right?
Yeah. I'm Andrew Wang. That's fine. And it's just another character on the world stage, man. And his whole backstory is funny, of course. Another one, and I just want to get a few of these out here before I head back in, though. One that I found that was given to me by Shaitra Pollard, who's on my channel a lot, always dropping bombs in my comments. I appreciate her. Have you looked in? Are you a Pharrell Williams fan at all?
No, I know who he is, but I'm not a fan.
Okay. So I grew up the biggest Pharrell Williams fanboy of all time, and I'll admit that. I didn't want to look at this because it was going to ruin my entire high school, life. But Pharrell Williams is not a real person at all. And in fact, Pharrell is wearing a mask. That means that there's an actor who's playing the role of Pharrell Williams. The actor who plays Pharrell Williams is Fredro Starr from Onyx. That is absolutely 1,000% Pharrell. And he puts a mask on, and
how do I spell it? You said Onyx. How do I spell his name?
Yeah. Okay, so Fredro Starr. Well, look up Fredro Starr. So Fredro, Star with two R's.
Gotcha.
Okay, so Fredro Starr, and you can see it in the eyes. But when you listen to Fredro speak, if you're a Pharrell fan like I am, um, you hear it. You can tell that Fredro, when he's Fredro, it's all an act. He's big, tough guy, New York and whatever, Bronx and whoopty whoopty woo, and he's big and bad. But that's all an act. And then you can hear Pharrell's voice, and then it's funny because it's like Fredro. I thought you were supposed to be this big time, thug or whatever you want to call it, but he's an actor. He was on Moesha. He was on the show Moesha with Brandy back in the day. It's like, you see, like these people are actors first and foremost.
Right. When did they become like it's like Tupac, right? He's a ballerina, Shakespearean actor, iambic pentameter, the whole thing, and then what? Then he joins a gang. He gets initiated into a gang and then becomes tough.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. No. You see how fake all this is. And so, I don't know if you guys want to take a look at that. I think that this one is huge though with Pharrell. And then also he had a group called NERD, and he was a part of the Neptunes with another member of an Asian guy named Chad Hugo. And I'm about 95% sure that Pharrell plays the role of Chad Hugo as well, an Asian person. So you can see that all these, it's so crazy, but it's absolutely true. So Chad Hugo, Fredro Starr plays the role of Pharrell Williams and Chad freaking Hugo.
Okay,
Weird.
wait. The Chad Hugo one is a much thicker mask. Or not thicker, but it's got a different it does.
Yeah, and he looks so weird. And it's funny because growing up, I was always, an apologetic, fan for Pharrell, and everybody lately is saying, "Oh man, Pharrell's got like plastic surgery. He looks like he's getting lipo or whatever it's called." And I'm like, yeah, I don't know why he's doing that, but his face looks super weird, and he does not age at all. Well, now I know because it's a mask. That's why.
Yes, and I think that a lot of the focus on cosmetic surgery and all these facial treatments that celebrities given, the celebrities are always making it look like they're constantly going in for facelifts and tucks and nips, and it's like, no, that may be part of it, but I think a lot of that gives a great cover to these hyper-realistic, undetectable silicone masks.
Yeah, and for the new year coming, man, I mean, I want to work with you and anybody else who wants to get in on this, but I really want to break the lid off these masks because we need to understand how it's done and like what they're using. And I know there are people that know out there. So it's like, I really want this year to expose like how, because it's really hard to tell, what I'm saying. You can't just go up to somebody and say, hey, Andrew Yang is Joe Rogan. You're going to get put in a psych ward, So you can't just go around saying this. But if we can find out how they're doing it, that's going to be the key to all of this, and that will really blow the lid off the cover.
Yeah, that's true. And we've been doing this for about a year. We've been close to a year, about 7 or 8 months actually, more like it. We've been looking at this topic, and I've been digging deep into the technology. And what I can say unequivocally is that the masks that they have are so thin and so subtle. They go over the lips. They can replace the ears. Look at the back or behind the scenes to Avengers, where they put Thor in a fat suit. They have body suits, and these body suits can change your shape, and it's convincing to the camera, and it fools people 100% of the time. And the Jonah Mendez, CIA master disguise, said she was in a room with half a dozen Saddam Husseins and didn't know which one was the right one or which one was the real one. And that's how good these disguises are.
Yeah, they're absolutely foolproof, and I can say that if these people came up to me with a mask to my face, I would not be able to detect it, more than likely. Here's the other thing. I found another one with Lisa Left Eye Lopez. We found another role for her as well. She plays a member of Congress, I believe, in the city of Baltimore, and she goes by the name of Marilyn Mosby. Marilyn Mosby. But that is absolutely Lisa Left Eye Lopez once again. And of course, she was like part of this whole shooting, one of those fake bang bang, racially charged events. And she was like a real big talking figurehead about it. Go listen to
this is big. Okay, so for people who don't know, we're not just talking about rappers faking their deaths. We're talking about actors on the world stage who play multiple roles across entertainment and politics. And, like, for example, there was a crisis actress slash Congresswoman Gifford in Arizona. Her husband is running for Congress senator, but formerly an astronaut, which we know to be fake, and also an actor. So when you see these school shootings or terror attack psyops and then celebrities hyping them up, well, the celebrities are there to be the echo chamber, to blow things up. And so it doesn't really surprise me when you see these death fakers crossing lines from entertainment into controlled politics. And so, yeah, this is fascinating. Lisa Left Eye Lopez, death faker, showing up in the PSYOP industrial complex as part of a shooting drill or the aftermath of a shooting, a fake shooting.
Yep. Yep. And if you guys want to look at her, it's Marilyn, Marilyn Mosby or Mosby, Mosby. So that is left eye. The eyes give it away. Another thing about it is I think every single picture I saw of Mosby, her skin complexion changes from, pure white to light skin to yellow. It's an African American woman, like light skin, but she goes from orange to yellow to brown to white. It's all over the place.
Let me point this out really quick here. So you brought up how Justin Bieber's wife is the same actress that plays The Weeknd's girlfriend, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Considering that he is playing The Weeknd, according to this theory. But check this out. There was an article from last year where Bieber's girlfriend caught some flack on Instagram for using this interesting suntan lotion that turned her very, very dark. And they said that she was doing blackface. And so what you're saying here is that when these characters, they appear and they have different, their skin looks different each time. Yeah, this is all basic Hollywood stagecraft.
All of it is. And it goes with Aisha Curry as well. Aisha Curry, who is absolutely 1,000% Miley Cyrus. Go look at, I have my little stalker Instagram account that I made up, and I go look at these people's pages, and I look at the stories that they give out. Aisha Curry is constantly with white women, with white friends. That's a dead giveaway. I'm not saying any black person doesn't have a bunch of white friends. I'm just saying that it's very interesting to me. I find it interesting that they named their first child Riley, which really sounds like Miley. And of course, Aisha Curry is on Miley Cyrus's show Hannah Montana, doing the whole, Hollywood cutscenes where they're never in the same room together. They're just, Aisha's just on film, and then for some reason, Aisha Curry was on Hannah Montana. Go figure.
Oh, yes, and check this out. When you searched for Miley Cyrus and Aisha Curry, you would find a lot of my memes, or our memes here, because we are constantly letting people know that, yeah, we've got this pop star who's playing the wife of a basketball star. Well, just about a week and a half ago, there was a trending story on Instagram that they said somebody is deep faking Aisha Curry and Stephen Curry and putting them on other people's bodies. So they were warning you not to look at the deep fakes. Aisha Curry was warning people not to look at the deep faked images of her.
Wow.
So you see they're doing damage control almost real time to all of our provocations.
And if you look at Aisha Curry stuff, she's always posting stuff like she has like long sleeves, always wearing pants, always wearing mittens. Like it's so bizarre, but it's so obvious. So these are like
the bodysuit. The bodysuit ends, and I learned this from watching the behind the scenes on Avengers with Thor being put into a bodysuit. It ends at the wrist, and then they have the hand piece that goes over. So you'll often see her wearing, like she'll punch. I was watching her on Jimmy Kimmel, Aisha Curry. She had her sweater sleeves pulled over her hands, and then her thumb was poked through a hole. So it hid her wrist, and that's because you would see she was in a skin suit. A bodysuit.
Yeah, I think here's the thing though, IPS. I think that sometimes with these suits, they have to go through, probably an hour or so of makeup just to get ready, right? At least. And I think that if they just gotta kind of hastily put together a little photo shoot for the day, they're gonna give her like the long sleeves. But if they have like time to do the whole thing and put the real arms and legs on and all that, that's when they can do the they can wear shirts, T-shirts, and stuff. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this requires a backstage. And you pointed out Lisa Left Eye possibly being this politician or playing the role of this politician. It makes sense. What I've been saying lately is that we have to recognize that your government, your entertainment media, and your celebrities all share the same backstage.
Yes, they do. And speaking of Donald Trump, um, I think Elvis is Donald Trump.
I've heard that one, and I think it's funny. But I've heard that, okay, no, I heard that Elvis was playing the role of Celine Dion's husband. What's his name? D'Angelo.
No, well, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they have multiple roles, which is this is a whole other facet of it. Is that they're not just deepfaking as like a another character, right, or a dual role. They have multiple roles they're playing on the world stage. So that's like something that I think we all need to understand. And I was telling this to one of my guys the other day. I used to live. Oh God, an ex-girlfriend of mine lived in La Cunada, which is out in LA, and it's a really nice, affluent area. And she lived next to Angela Bassett. Are you familiar with Angela Bassett, the black actress?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay, and a lot of people say that she's played multiple roles. It was a very nice house, and that house was, very public to the neighborhood. Everybody knew her. And I found it funny that her family, Angela Bassett, had people living there, but she was never, ever at that house. And it was a beautiful home. She was never there. And I think that goes to show you that it could be that these characters, these Hollywood actresses and actors, they can't just stay in one place at the whole time, like me and you, like you and I, right? Like we have families, we live in one place. These people can't because they have to keep up acts in different parts of the country. You see what I'm saying? And they're never home, and they'll blame it on, she's out, doing out on assignment, doing a new show or something like. It's like, nah, like that. I never saw Angela Bassett. I was over there for almost 2 years. We never saw her, ever.
Okay, well, here's one thing that I'm trying to do this year because what you're trying to do is trying to blow the lid off this thing, peel the mask off. And I actually think that David Icke and other conspiracy theorists pushing reptilians and stuff, I think those guys were disinformation to hide this masking technology that was now becoming more visible with HD. I think before we
Yeah,
had everyone had their own HD TV in their pocket, it was much easier to hide this stuff. Like so, for
yeah,
example, people look at JFK and Jimmy Carter, and I believe that Jimmy Carter is played by the same guy who played JFK who didn't actually die. And it's like, well, all they did was they let him age a few years. They changed the part in his hair and grew out his sideburns. That's it. They didn't even change his teeth. Well, that's because they didn't need to. Society wasn't under a zoom lens at every you know second of the day, where now they have to be very careful. And so I think they sowed disinformation. And if you actually look at the DSM-5, this manual that they use to diagnose mental illness, one of the symptoms of mental illness is asserting that person A is person C. You see, because it's a violation
ah,
of the laws of logic, right? So
right.
if you see through a disguise and the consensus reality says no, that disguise is the real one, then they get to mark you out as mentally ill. And this is weaponized psychiatry. It has nothing to do with mental health. It has to do with getting rid of the clear perceivers.
Yeah, yeah, and this is the year we're in 2020. Hopefully that means excellent vision. I don't know, but I think we're having an effect, man. I really do. And I'm getting more and more people coming to my channel saying, and I'm getting so many emails now too. I'm getting the hate, and I get a whole lot of it, but at the same time, I am getting a lot of good stuff too, and I gotta speak on that. So, I appreciate a lot of the support, and a lot of people are just coming like, hey, man, you and others have been waking us up to this stuff, man. This is crazy, because we idolize these people our whole lives. They're shoved down our throats since we were kids. We never stood a chance. We never stood a chance to any of this.
Well,
So it's like,
look, man, the term idolize is perfect here because we're talking about idolatry, and this is the state religion, and they give you idols to worship to control you. So you nailed it.
yeah, I mean, it's right there for us. Really quick. So one last thing I want to bring up was we had a TLDMC sighting, and this was interesting. So There was I went into the comments on Akil's videos because, he deletes everybody who's calling him Tupac, and we blew up his whole channel a couple of weeks ago. But he's been since gone back and deleted half of those comments. But in the comments, I saw that there's a guy who's in LA, and he rides around on his bike, and he goes by the name of Images in LA, all one word. And in early December this year, he was riding around on his bike, and he approaches some guys at a Nipsey Hussle mural in LA. And lo and behold, it's Akil the MC. So Akil was there at a little, in the back of this, whatever it was, in front of a Nipsey mural, talking to some guys. The guy pulls up to him on a bike, and Akil looks like he froze up. It looked like he froze when he realized that there was a camera on him. and he you could hear it. He's talking all until he gets up to him. And then as soon as he pulls up, he looks at him, and then it looks like he goes into frozen mode when he realizes he has a camera. It was just kind of interesting to me. And then the guy, he's like, hey, do you guys recognize the guy with the dreads? I heard he's a big-time rapper. And so then me and Fearless and a couple other people, we chimed in. We're like, no, man, you ran up on Tupac. And it's cool because the guy who has the channel, he didn't respond with like, oh, what the fuck are you talking about? You guys are crazy kooks. Take your meds. We didn't get any of that from him. He was just like, wow, that's interesting. He's like, I'm going to look into this. And I'm going to look at your videos and see what you guys are talking about. I've heard a lot about this. So that told me something, man. I think we really are starting to have somewhat of an effect on this, man. I hope this year really we can blow it all up.
Oh yeah, we're documenting all of it. It all ties together. Death Faker after Death Faker, Juice World. I had a friend who went over to that Rolling Loud Los Angeles thing, where after Juice WRLD's fake death, and on the screen they had a montage of all the Death Fakers with the phrase below it, "Legends never die." So this is look behind this. The people behind the scenes are having a completely different experience than the rest of us. I often point this out. Those of us who know how fake the news is, we don't get triggered by the bad news, the terror attacks, and the shootings because we know how much it's fake, and we don't get caught up in a lot of the dramas and the idolatry. But the people behind the scenes, they're immune to all their own deceptions, and so they're laughing at us over our heads.
Yeah, they just laugh. And I saw that Lil Uzi Vert, which sounds like Lucifer when you say that really quick. And of course, he's a demonic rapper and he talks about the devil. He posted a picture the other day of him with holding just stacks of $100 bills, right? And he, with some dumb caption. And I jumped in there. I was like, "Oh, is that your payout for completing your mission on Juice WRLD?" And I just, I'll leave those kind of comments, man, and people go crazy. And then there's always one or two people that'll be like, "Wait a minute, what's this guy talking about?" And they'll start to look, and that's how we can wake these people up. And so, any way you guys can do it, I'm all for it.
And one more thing before you go, what do you think about the rat that we spotted on a rocket that's flying in outer space, and it's on the outside of the rocket? Did you see this?
Yes, and I think I have the perfect name for it.
Oh yeah,
We will call that Musk Rat.
Not bad. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. We're like, I think this is where it's at. Oh no. Last night someone's like, yeah, this is gonna be because it's Year of the Rat. So yeah, we've got the Muskrat here, literally destroying and undermining the credibility of the space station itself. This is a huge scandal.
Were there two? Maybe he had a friend named Smudgy the Mouse too. I don't know, but what the hell was that? That's the weirdest thing, and it's so obvious. Like, I remember when I saw the footage of that whatever that thruster was, I'm just like, I can't believe people actually think that this is in outer space. And it looks like it's just tinfoil wrapped in zero gravity going, thousands of miles? I mean, this is just beyond ridiculous at this point. Fantasy outer space land is what people want to believe in. But hopefully we can wake them up to that too. So,
awesome.
Yeah, man.
Well, hey, thanks for the call, and we're going to continue to look beneath the surface, above, below, and right in our faces, questioning what we see. So I appreciate the work and the research, and we'll blow it up in 2020, no doubt.
Oh, for sure, man. Much love to everybody out there, man. Have a good one.
All right, everyone, that's Cam B. And Cam B, if you want to spam your channel in the chat, it's CAMBEE. He's been at the cutting edge of this, and this is real. Reptilians are not, clones are not, MK Ultra is not. This is real. It's admitted. It's been classified until recently, and they use this high-tech mask deep faking technology. They've been using this, like I showed you, Talcum X, Sean King. They'll fake their races to manipulate people. They'll fake their identity, their religion. It's all over. This deep faked reality that we were born into. Infinite Plane Radio.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, are you the caller who is in possession of a NASA sweater?
Yep.
Okay, what's on that sweater?
You know, black, red, and blue NASA sweater. I struggle with NASA.
Okay, so what
United States.
do you think about the mouse on the Merlin 1D rocket engine in outer space?
I really don't know about that one. In all honesty, I really don't know.
But do you see it?
I see it.
You see it with your eyeballs, right? Your eyeballs are showing you a mouse on the Merlin engine, correct?
Yep.
And that's all we need. That's all we need to know. I mean, you don't have to go any further. Just because that's fake doesn't mean anything else necessarily. But the first thing is we have to be fact oriented, and I'm glad that you're allowing the facts to sink in.
I have a question, though. So, I've heard about flat earthers not believing in gravity. Do you believe in gravity?
Yeah, things fall down. I don't know if they're falling to the center mass of a spinning ball or if they're falling down. But how would we know from our perspective? And the people who tell us that down doesn't go down, but it's relative to the center of the Earth, those people are the ones who gave you this mouse in outer space. So do you believe in Mighty Mouse, the cartoon mouse that can survive in 0G outer space in that environment?
I mean, for all we know, it could be CGI, it couldn't, but I really don't. No.
Okay, now are you going to burn the NASA sweater or get your money back?
No.
No? You still believe in them?
Yeah.
Okay, well, do you know that this rocket with the mouse on it went to the space station? You know that, right?
Yeah, the ISS?
Yeah. Those are your peeps, man. Those are your priesthood. Your NASA astronauts are part of this scam. There's a NASA logo on that video on the top right with the mouse. So does it bother you that you're going to have to get rid of that sweater?
I mean, NASA's done a lot of good for us.
No, they haven't. I'm just kidding. Maybe they have. I mean, what have they done for you? What has NASA done for you today?
NASA hasn't done for me, but it has done good for this country in a whole. Exploration of outer space, brought us news from other planets, and heck, it even helps us, find new planets, stuff like that. Helps us get data back in case lets us know if there's an asteroid coming. So.
Well, they let us know when the asteroid's coming because the asteroid's going to kill us. You know the asteroids are fake too, right?
They really are.
Oh yeah, they are fake. Not only are they fake, but there was one that was supposed to hit us on Friday the 13th last month. How come that didn't hit us? We were supposed to be hit by an asteroid the size of the World Trade Center on December 26th. How come that didn't hit us? How come they never predict an asteroid that actually hits us? They're never right. And then two, you have evidence in front of you that the resupply rocket, the refueling rocket that goes to the ISS, you have proof in front of you that it's on the Earth in a movie theater, in a movie stage rather. It's on a set and it's being recorded on the ground. Like, doesn't that bother you?
I mean, there's no extra proof being recorded on the ground, though.
Well, let me ask you this then. Can a mouse survive the environment of outer space? Can a mouse go through the thermosphere at, Mach 3 and not die? Can a mouse survive that environment? Could you put a mouse in your microwave for 10 minutes?
Yeah, the mouse, like I said before, I really don't know, but actually, I might have a few questions I should ask you.
Well, look, before I answer any questions, I want to know I'm talking to somebody who shares the same reality with me. And if in your reality, a mouse can go into outer space on the outside of a rocket, then we're not in the same place.
Yeah, a mouse cannot survive the temperatures of, I think, the atmosphere, let alone outer space.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I appreciate that. So at least we agree on that. So if you see an impossible thing occurring on a rocket going into outer space, is this reason enough for you to question the validity of the footage? Like, did that rocket with the mouse on it go to the space station? Yes or no?
See that? I might have to question the validity of it, but can I ask you a question real quick? One question.
Yeah, really quick though. NASA has footage of this rocket docking. So according to NASA, this is real. So do you agree with NASA or do you agree with me? That's really what it's about. Or do you agree with your own perceptions or do you agree with NASA is what I should be asking. Because
And that
NASA's
we
lying,
did.
NASA's lying to you so that you don't acknowledge your own perceptions. Are you going to obey NASA's lies or are you going to go with your own perceptions?
I'm. Hmm, I need to do some research on this, but
Well, that's
all
all.
right. But
That's always a good answer. I need to do some research on this. What was your question?
all right. So if the Earth is flat, how will lunar eclipses occur? If the sun is, about like over the size, like over a million Earths, has a mass of over a million Earths.
Good question. Yeah, if the Earth is flat and the sun is as big as they say, it would light up the whole world at the same time. We'd have night and day at the
Yeah.
same time. That makes perfect sense. But the flat Earth theory, as it's popularly understood, doesn't have a distant sun. The theory is that the sun is very close, like maybe 3,000 miles away tops, and that it's small. And so that it's so small that it only spotlights a portion of the Earth at a time.
If the sun was, let's say, that small, how would it keep? It's smaller than Earth. Then the sun will be the sun, and all the other planets would be orbiting the Earth. And how come the Earth is the only one that's flat, and the solar system full around planets?
Good question. The thinking here is that they're not orbiting in the sense that they're going around a ball. They're more or less going in a circle above us, a circuit. And then two, we only think the planets are balls because of the images we've been shown from NASA. But from our perspective, all we can actually tell is that they're light sources, and they could be disks for all we know from down here.
All right. Do you believe in galaxies, kind of? The Milky Way, Andromeda.
No, I don't believe in galaxies. I don't believe that the deep space images we've been given are accurate at all, and I don't think that beyond the stars that we can see, there's more universes, more galaxies, or whatever. No way. I don't think that this. I don't think that any of those pictures that they've shown us can really be credible because it's all artistic renderings. And I don't believe in black holes. I don't believe in exoplanets. I don't believe in wormholes. I think that's all mysticism. Mysticism.
Hmm.
Now, I
All
understand where
right,
you're
but
coming from. Like, I believed in all this stuff, and I know why you would because of the sources that you're getting it from. But I think what they've done is they've manufactured the concept of outer space so they could use math to shrink the world and contain the masses of poor, and that would be us, on 6 continents instead of I don't know how many. So I kind of think that the globe is a lie to keep us from venturing too far on a much, much larger surface. And the physics of today, and if you look it up, physicists all agree that the universe is flat. Have you heard that?
all right, but like Ferdinand Magellan, you just sail around the Earth.
Say again.
Ferdinand Magellan.
Oh yes. Okay. Okay. Sailing around the Earth. Okay. Let me ask you a question. If you have a park in your town that's round or a circle, and you jog around the park again and again, does the park have to be a sphere for you to jog around it? No. It just means that you're jogging around a central point. So as long as you have a pole, call it North Pole or whatever, all you're doing is going in a circle. You can do that on a flat surface. You can run around your block. It doesn't have to be a ball.
Right. Also, all right. Okay, if the Earth is flat and you don't believe in galaxies and universes, what do you believe is out there?
I'm left with a question mark. I think that there's probably more land and more resources, and that the governments of the world don't want the masses of people to leave because then we won't pay taxes. I think that what is beyond, say, 60 degrees south parallel is not Antarctica. I think that there are lots of continents. I think Antarctica's a lie.
All right, so let's say that the Earth was flat, for argument's sake, and you know how there's gonna be natural resources and everything, especially oil. How do you know that the countries of the world, U.S., Russia, China, will be all over that? So how come? Why do you think they wouldn't have claimed it and would keep us away from that,
I,
especially if it got get dumb rich?
I think they are going to do it. Right now, if you look at deep space industries, planetary resources, and many other companies, they are already making plans to mine asteroids. And this, I think, is a cover for mining lands outside of the lands that they've already put off limits for exploitation. So I do think that any wealth that we see being mined from space is actually going to be brought in from the regions outside of the regions that we're allowed to touch.
All right. And let's say if the Earth was flat, for argument's sake. Okay, so let's say you turned it over on the side, right? We'll be under it. Will it just continue?
Good
Like,
question. So I think that the Earth is the bottom of whatever the universe is, and I think it might go on indefinitely. I think we might be on an infinite Earth, and I don't know what's below us. I don't know how far, but I think it's the bottom. And I don't know how high everything is, like how high you can actually go up. I don't believe in this outer space idea. I don't believe in orbit, but I'm just left without any answers until somebody goes to the edge. And there are many barriers and obstacles to doing that kind of exploration, but
wait. You just said that you believe in the Earth is infinite. If it was infinite, there wouldn't be any edge.
that's what I mean. I think that it could be what I'm calling infinite until proven otherwise. In other words, if we assume there's an edge, well, that's an assumption based on what? A guess. There's no evidence to say that there is one. But until we've actually been there, we can't say. So, to the best I can say right now is it's infinite until proven otherwise.
All right. All right. So
I mean, what's outside of the universe? What's beyond what's at the end of the universe? It's always expanding, is what they say, right?
yeah.
Well, it could be the infinite Earth always expanding.
All right.
And look, physicists will say that the universe is flat, that the bottom, that it does actually, that there is a bottom, more or less, and we are on the bottom. And it's not necessarily flat like a table, but flat, lumpy, wavy, or whatever, has distortions, but that it's ultimately an infinite flat expanse. And so, what's
Yeah.
so controversial about saying we're on the bottom of it?
All right. It's not. That's not the part that's controversial. The part that's controversial is saying the Earth is flat. When we launched rockets into space, we've circumnavigated the Earth. We have actually the ISS. We have satellites. We even have the tides, which prove that there is a moon reacting with us.
Well, those are explanations that we're calling into question. Kind of like, before the modern scientific paradigm, people had other explanations, like, oh, the world's on top of the back of a turtle. Then you find out that's false. And I think we're at the stage right now where the heliocentric model is being deconstructed and it's not the right one. I don't believe that the sun is the center of a solar system and that we orbit the sun. I think the sun is small. It's the same size of the moon, if you ask me. I don't even think the moon is a ball. Does the moon look like a sphere to your eyes, or only when you see it in photos?
No, because it doesn't look like clear to us since we can only see one side. Let's say if you take a ball, that's if you shrink us to the size that we would. Okay, let's say you get a ball, right, and you move it far enough away, you only see one side of it, right, or a half of it, you could say. But they're hard to explain.
I know what you're saying. Look, okay, let's say you have a ball and you light it. It's in a dark room. You have a ball, basketball, and you shine a light on it. Well, there's a hot spot where the light hits it, and then there's the gradient. And the moon doesn't really have a gradient. It's too uniform in the way that it's lit, which makes me think the moon is itself a luminary. I don't think the moon's reflecting the sun's light. I think that's absurd and it's not explainable by what we observe. I think there's a correlation between the sun and the moon and the phases, but it's not a distant light source interacting with a local sphere. These are two objects, I believe, that are the same size, and they do interact with one another, and the moon's phases are a direct result of the sun's influence, but I don't believe it's a direct one-to-one reflection of light.
All right. What about already covered solar eclipse? The
Yes.
solar eclipse. All right. Uh, well, again, of course, the moon wouldn't have that kind of like effect of shining light directly in the ball because the sun's like a few million, I believe, miles out there, and you're shining light indirectly, which is passes through and then shines back down on us. So there really won't be kind of, let's say, a hot spot. But again, and plus again, we're only seeing one side of the moon since the moon turns like the moon pretty much.
It's
It
tidally
always
it's tidally
one
locked.
side
The moon
on
is
us.
okay, they say the
Yeah.
moon is tidally locked with us, right? But the problem with that is they say the moon also has an axial rotation, one per month, meaning that every 27 days the moon is supposed to make a full rotation on its axis, but that we don't see that rotation because we move, or rather, it's moving around us as we turn, just so we never actually get to see the other side of the moon. So they say it does rotate once per month, but I don't believe that the moon spins on its axis. And when I observe the moon rising and setting, it looks to me like it actually rotates more like a wheel over the course of the night, which it shouldn't be doing if it is in fact orbiting a ball Earth.
All right. So, all right.
Okay, so let's go on.
Well,
Let's go on one other topic here. Now, I would be with you on all this stuff, 100%. I'd even believe in nukes because I was trained to believe in that stuff. I would think it was all real if I hadn't been given reason to doubt. So the last thing I've been given to cause me to really doubt the space program and our worldview has been this mouse on the Merlin rocket that was sent out on December 5th. Do you think this mouse is something that might cause a lot of people to doubt the whole outer space thing? Will it cause you to doubt?
I mean, of course, we're people. It's we only trust what helps us. If you don't have a reason, if it doesn't really will help you, you have to essentially have no reason to trust it. We're people.
Good. Well, I'm glad you can be objective enough with the evidence. I'm not really like too heated in the debate. I'm not trying to win people over, mainly because I have a plan this year, which is basically getting behind Mad Mike Hughes. He's a daredevil, and he's getting in a balloon. Well, it's a rocket and a balloon combination, and he's going to go 3 times higher than the Red Bull jump. So if you remember the Red Bull jump, the guy went up 20 miles and he skydived down, and they said it was
Yeah.
the edge of space. Well, that wasn't the edge of space. That was only 20 miles up. The edge of space is 62 miles. So we got a guy who thinks the Earth is flat, and he's going up 62 miles this year. And if there's a curve,
That's a death sentence.
yeah, it's high. I mean, it's actually 20 miles in a balloon, a 400-foot diameter balloon, and then the rocket takes off from there, going through the balloon another 40 miles. So that's going to be live streamed. You'll see it this summer. And if he goes up 40 miles, 50 miles, and there's a curve, well, then you're right. And the rest of us who will have to come up with all, we'll have to figure out how we were misled. But if he goes up 62 miles and the horizon is flat, then it pretty much debunks everything.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see you then.
Exactly. Well, hey, I appreciate the call. You don't have to burn your NASA sweater yet. Hang on to it until this summer.
All right.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's see. We have a few more things to get into. That was a caller who earlier he saw that we were talking about this mouse, and just surprisingly enough, the guy was objective and logical. He didn't say, "Oh, it is a mouse, therefore it's flat." He's like, "It's a mouse, but I don't know what it means. I'm going to do some more research," which is always a good answer. I don't know. Let me research. If you're not given that opt out, if you're not given the opportunity to opt out of an immediate answer, then you're probably being mandoozled or coerced. Okay, let's see. Flat Earth Fantasy says, it's a good thing that we have smart people like IPS questioning the shape of the Earth, or else we'd be in a lot of trouble. It's not me, man. It's a lot of people. And it's not that we're questioning the shape. We're questioning the world view, which is different than shape. I mean, even if we find out the world's a ball, the world view is still changing because we do know the news is fake. Von Neumann says, I don't care what people choose to believe. It does get frustrating whenever someone makes claims about a subject they've never taken the time to understand. Right. This is where it's at. It says, burn that ugly sweater, fool. Skyrocket says, if there is zero gravity in the vacuum of space, why is he walking around the rocket not floating away? I hadn't even thought about that. Well, I mean, there's the thrust. So I'm wondering, why isn't he flattened? Why isn't he flattened and cooked? How come the mouse is not just a dark spot right here? It's because he's genetically modified Mighty Mouse. According to Elon Musk. You know, I've been looking at Musk's tweets. He tweeted pedo bear, and he said no one suspects him in his disguise. This is a good one. Not all of his tweets are bad. This is from Elon Musk, the Martian Pope, the richest man on earth, mankind's savior. And this is a muffin, puppy, muffin, puppy, muffin, puppy. It goes back and forth until by the time you get to the fifth row, you don't know whether you want to eat it or hold it and pet it. Like that one on the bottom right, is that a cute puppy or is that a muffin, a blueberry muffin? Anyway, that's from Musk's Twitter feed. I hit him up last night and I let him know that the Tower of Babylon's falling, space program's going down. We've debunked him and we'll be seeing him later. Miley Cyrus is Aisha Curry. She's an actress and she's playing the role of Stephen Curry's wife. Who knows why? Don't care to speculate. So 2020. A lot of things are going to be happening this year, but I think this is a great start. This is a gift. Thank you, Elon. Thank you for kicking off this year with such a blunder. This is the year of the rat. We're not going to let this down. We're not going to let it go. Slater24 says, I'm a subscriber from your other channel. I'm going to sub now. I just found it last night. Yeah, and look, YouTube wants to shut me down. They've shut us down 4 or 5 dozen times. So what you need to do is sign up at the Patreon. $1 a month cover charge gives you access to the 24-hour Discord think tank. And you get notifications when we're live. And you get links to the archives. Infinite Plane Radio is also on iTunes. Yeah, Year of the Rat begins February the 5th. I want to get through everything else here before we move on. We have an old crisis actor. Man, they have been crisis acting forever. This is a witness to the assassination of Abraham Lincoln.
He's been writing over there all the time.
This guy on the right?
I'm scared to death, Howard.
He said, no, he was scared to death.
Would it have had anything to do with the President Lincoln's death, by any chance?
Unfortunately, yes.
Did Mr. Seymour witness the shooting of President Lincoln?
Again, brainwashing from day one. So the television has been an instrument of brainwashing. That's why they invented it. Entertainment is a side effect. Flat Earth Fantasy says, thanks to the wrench, it helps us maintain quality control for those without a brain to tolerate ideas they don't agree with. Yeah, I think it is a sign of an evolved mind that you can associate with people you don't agree with and not put them down and come to mutual understandings. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Flat Earth Fantasy. Thanks for the comments. I got a nice shout out here from Fakeologist. Fakeologist.com. Here's a link. Everyone should join that site. It's another auto hoaxer. Autohoax.com approved. Fakeologist, exposing media fakery one psyop at a time. Tim turns around a Las Vegas shooter who knows someone who died. And this is from an episode where a caller claimed to me that they actually knew one of the shooters in Las Vegas. No, one of the victims of the shooter in Las Vegas, Stephen Paddock. This guy's like, yeah, my friend's sister's cousin's boyfriend was at the shooting and died. And I'm like, really? Because we know the thing was fake. We have footage that shows that there was no shooting. We have footage that shows that Stephen Paddock was not shooting people from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay. No muzzle flash. We've demonstrated this because there was someone there who wasn't leaving when he was being told to leave, and he was recording stuff. So they've been doing damage control. So High Impact Flicks, who's a government agent, great channel other than the fact that he's a shill and he pushes false flag narratives and he's defending the Matrix. But I mean, good production value. And I like the t-shirt designs. I don't like the red herrings. I don't like the false flag theories. But anyway, he comes along and he says, no, it was a real shooting. Even though there's no shooter here, it came from a helicopter. So High Impact Flicks, another government liar, exposed. And I start talking about him, and I get this call from someone who says, I know someone who knows someone who knows someone who died. And I said, what's the name? And the guy laughed. And I said, can you give me the initials of the victim? He said no. I mean, really? When people lie to defend PSYOPs, it makes me wonder, well, are they getting paid? Are you like an unpaid crisis actor? I mean, I assume most crisis actors are getting paid. Now, we've been talking about Fake X for a bit. Here's some fake launches for you. This is a compilation. It's the Billionaire Blimp Club. So if you didn't know, the rockets that you see going up there aren't really these like powerful missiles with jet fuel going up into outer space. No, these are blimps. This is the Billionaires Blimp Club. It's actually an ancient religion. It's an obelisk. So when you see Jeff Bezos here popping champagne bottles in front of one of his big dongs, it's pretty obvious it's a fertility rite. It all is. It's all fake. There are multiple levels to the fakery, but at a minimum, it's CGI. It's fake rockets that are actually dummies, that are blimps with jet propulsion. 5 Gaming says globe earthers kill people. It's true. It's true. All of the murders that have ever happened in human history were committed by globe believers. Every serial killer, every cannibal, everybody who ever stole from you believed in the globe. Anybody who ever robbed your house growing up, anybody who picked on you in school, all the serial killers that scared you. Ted Bundy, globe believer. Jeffrey Dahmer, globe believer. So you can say what you will about flat earthers, but they haven't started any wars. They haven't lynched anybody. So, if you're going to play that divisive game, you're on the wrong side of history. And here's Muskrat. Year of the Muskrat. Wasn't one of ours, but I thought maybe it was a sabotage act by the Chinese. Chinese said they want to go to space and to Mars before we do. They want to get to the red planet and create a communist paradise before we can go screw it up. So it only makes sense that they would want to sabotage Elon by putting a mouse on the movie set. Shout out to PewDiePie, says this is where it's at TV. Now I got a comment from Dwayne Jackson. He says, I would say it's a rat. It's a wharf rat. Its snout is too long. Mice have flatter faces, as do pack rats. I would also surmise that a wharf rat is more probable near a wharf. And without checking, I would have guessed that SpaceX is positioned near the sea. Yeah, that's a great comment. I agree with you there. Okay, I don't want to go too far into any of the rest of this stuff until later. I will be taking calls, but I just wanted to really just jump on this and say, hey, look, we are definitely looking at a mouse in space. It's not pareidolia. And this is what the government agents are going to tell you. So fight the flat earth, Simon Dan, Bob the Science Guy, Red's rhetoric, and all these other government agents who are paid to deceive you, these government liars and clowns, they'll say, oh no, you got pareidolia, a tendency for incorrect perception of stimulus as an object pattern is something recognizable to the observer, such as shapes in clouds, faces in inanimate objects or abstract patterns, or hearing hidden messages in music. Common examples are perceived images of animals in cloud formations. And here you have an image of, and this is where Wikipedia just totally lost it with me. I mean, they are there to reinforce the dominant paradigm. They say, well, this is a picture from Mars that they say is a face. No, Wikipedia, this is a fake picture that's not Mars. This is a fake picture created by NASA to deceive people and to mislead them. So instead of saying, is Mars fake, they're saying, is the face on Mars real? Clever trick. YouTube says Red's rhetoric sounded about 14 or 15 in 2015. ACC F4676 says globe earthers are frauds. Good thing YouTube is onto it. They seem to be cleaning up their platform. I don't think you really need to separate people by the shape of the world that they take to be real. If people are violating the terms of service, they should just be kicked off, no doubt. No doubt. But they are cleaning up their platform because they're basically aiming to be more mainstream, and truth isn't mainstream, if you've noticed. The mainstream media is a fountain of lies. There's no truth in the mainstream media. Truth is not mainstream. And whenever you try to mainstream something that's true, it really gets them mad. So we had someone in here who was wanted to see the video again. I'm going to put it on the screen for you one more time. So if you're a believer in the mainstream worldview, the dominant paradigm, the heliocentric system, outer space, and the rest, you need to ask yourself, what does it mean when you see a rat in outer space on the outside of a rocket? That's a wharf rat. Personally, I think it's CGI. But doesn't this bother you? And so here we are pointing out that their system is a fraud and they want to make personal attacks. Like, you want to attack me because Elon Musk bamboozled you? Sorry, not my fault. You don't have to believe this. It's not a sin to not believe the news, although they want you to think so. It's not hate to not believe the news. You're not wicked, you're not a sinner, you're not an infidel because you don't believe the priesthood of the day. You're a free thinker. Tim Osman says, I posted a cleaned up version of Mighty Mouse in the Discord. All right, let's go ahead and get a close-up version of the mouse. Now, Flat Earth Fantasy says Elon Musk is a fraud and those who have eyes to see can see it unfold. Just a bunch of government agents. Yeah, they're all statists. I agree with that. Yeah, we were joined earlier by Bob, the science guy, abusing his lady friends with pharmaceuticals, coming over here telling us we're crazy. Okay, this is as close as we can get. This is zoomed in. This is Mighty Mouse. Damn, look at that. Eat that, fight the flat earth, Red's rhetoric, Simon Dan. That is a mouse. That's a fucking mouse. This is a mouse. I just have this on 24/7. That's a mouse. In outer space. On the outside of a rocket. Unaffected by the harsh atmosphere. Salty Siren says it looks like a possum. That's why that commenter Dwayne said it's a wharf rat. That is 100% a mouse. By Elon Musk. By Space Station. Hey, all you NASA fanboys. Every time you come to my channel and you bitch that YouTube hasn't kicked me off this time, we're everywhere. We're not just on YouTube. So you can't really stop this. Lilith says it likes trash, whatever it is. Yeah, that Merlin 1D engine is trash. It's just a prop. Slater says, mouse, rat, possum. Yeah, this is a mouse. So what I was asking the guy earlier who called in, I said, well, hey, if this is a mouse and this went to the space station, doesn't this undermine the space station? Von Neumann says, and this is an argument from incredulity, another logical fallacy. He says, wait, you guys actually believe that was some type of animal on the rocket? Hey, Von Neumann, let me give you an argument from incredulity. Wow, you're actually dumb enough to not think that's a mouse? Like, we've had it with your illogic and your blunt force arguments. No subtlety. Flat Earthers, oh no, here we go. 5% Gaming says, Flat Earthers are right. The Billionaire Blimp Club is just a bunch of criminal scammers. They should be in prison. They're using free speech to brainwash the kids. But it's too late. No, it's not too late. Just share the stream, Von Neumann. Share the stream, because the more people see this mouse, the more they'll know that this is a hoax. Like, I wouldn't get too triggered, Von Neumann. The Globe Earthers, whatever, they're just like us. They just don't know that the TV lies. Wow, look at that. I want to go to the pet store today, find an expert and say, is this a mouse? Gem Panda says it's ice. Oh, good. Hey, this is going to be great. This is a wrecking ball. This mighty mouse, this muskrat, this is a wrecking ball. Any of these morons out there who want to say it's not a mouse are going to have to face this and say it and just destroy their credibility as perceivers. Oh, and then you can't see. If you don't think this is a mouse, then you can't see or you're lying. And are you getting paid to lie? Like, I understand people like Red's Rhetoric, Fight the Flat Earth, Simon Dan, Godless Engineer. I understand these guys, they're getting paid to lie and to contradict their own perceptions. But what about the rest of them, the believers in this thing, who don't have a financial incentive to lie? Von Neumann defending Elon Musk. If he sucks so bad, then how's he a billionaire? He's one of these fanboys. I love it. Elon Musk, if you ever listen to him talk, he can barely string two sentences together. He ums and he ahs. He's always staring off into space. I think it's the Ambien. And people will say, no, he's so smart that it's really hard for him to dumb down his smart ideas so we can understand them. Oh, so he's an idiot savant. He's so smart he looks dumb. And that's what he said with his Roadster that he sent into space. Oh, well, it's obviously real because it looks so fake. And I'm obviously smart because I sound so dumb. Like, you guys actually believe this stuff? Elon Musk is a fraudster, a con man, a pitchman for the technocrats trying to sell you on exoplanets and fascism in the name of saving the planet. That might not even be a planet. Like, fuck that guy. He belongs in jail. This is fraud. How many investors, how many people are paying money to Elon Musk because they want to go to Mars and farm potatoes and live a communist lifestyle out there, and they're being cheated? This is fraud on a massive, massive scale. And this ties into the space station fraud. It ties into all of it. Again, we're off to a great start. This is Year of the Rat. I want to say thanks to all of you who have joined me here. This is the third year of the Flat Earth Report podcast. We'll be back later to take calls. Subscribe, get on the list. And I'm going to go ahead and take us out of here with the rest of the song by One-Eyed Jack and the Shells, Just a Bowl Cut Away.
Just a bowl cut away. Greta's going to be pissed. Just a book away. Greta's going to be pissed. Just a book away. Another angry white kid. Just a book away. The crisis actors are here.